Good morning again. Thank you. Sorry about the problems there. Again, my name is Jim Cook. I'm the Director of Revenue Generation and Partnership Development, and I also am involved with small business. Next slide, please. So we'll talk about historical data for the airport, as well as new Terminal 1 concession opportunities and some Terminal 2 opportunities. Next slide, please. This talks about our employments. Kind of just a quick recap. You can see obviously some pretty good increases over the years up until 2020. Next slide, please. This shows very similar, obviously, with concession sales. We had a good steady increase of concession sales up through 2019, peaking out right about $148 million in sales, and then obviously dropped down to $50 million in 2020. Next slide, please. This just kind of shows the breakdown between food and beverage, news and gift, specialty retail, and duty-free sales. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This just kind of gives you a quick overview of for information. On 2019, we had 16 airlines to 71 destinations. Next slide, please. And in 2021, this is through August, we had 16 new routes through August of 2021. Next slide, please. And for 2021, we have 17 airlines to over 75 nonstop destinations. This is the recap of those destinations. And on the right-hand side, the airlines that are flying out of San Diego Airport. And obviously, we've got some suspended service with London, Frankfurt, and Canada has come back on board now in a number of areas. And we're hearing that BA London Heathrow will be back in here middle of October. So that's a very positive sign. Next slide, please. This is our new T1, our new Terminal 1, our $3 billion project. Next slide, please. And just some of the advertising you'll see with new T1 now arriving. Construction jobs, better experience, economic engine, more dining and shopping, and sustainable solutions. Next slide, please. This is kind of a quick overview of the Terminal 1 overall project scope. So package 1 includes terminals and roadways. Package 2 includes airside improvements. Package 3 is an administration building, which is off to the far left or the west of the property. And the purple area is a future transit station by the parking area in front of the terminal. Next slide, please. This again kind of talks about those Terminal 1 components. So with the Terminal 1 we're rebuilding, there's a lot of other components and support systems that we need to work with. Next slide, please. And kind of a quick timeline on the new Terminal 1. We're anticipating in October here, October 7th, to get board approval for the project to begin and get fully funded. Construction can begin in November 21 with the first opening in late December 24, possibly early 25 with 19 gates. And then about 2 years later, phase 2 with 11 more gates will open up. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is a quick overview, and I won't get into many details. I'll just kind of walk through these slides. This gives you some ideas of some new concession opportunities that we'll be putting out to RFP in the upcoming future. This is a third level. This will be 2 clubs. One will be an airline club to the west, and to the east will be a common area club. Next slide, please. This is a level 2 departures. The purple boxes are retail concessions opportunities, and the kind of bluish color will be the food and beverage concession opportunities. Next slide, please. This just shows you the west end. This is kind of this phase 2. Again, the purple is retail concessions and the bluish color is the food and beverage concessions. Next slide, please. This is the head house. The center point here is the checkpoint where passengers will go through, and then we'll either go to the left or to the right to get to their gate areas. Next slide, please. This is the east end of the concourse. After you go through the checkpoint, you head to the right or to the east. This was where you'll have obviously retail concessions in purple again and food and beverage concessions in the blue. Next slide, please. This is the ramp level, the arrivals area, mainly the baggage claim area. Next slide, please. And it's just kind of shows some storage areas that we're going to have, as well as some airline space. The reddish color is the concession storage, and the blue areas are airline space for all their offices and their back of house. Next slide, please. And again, this is the bag claim area. You'll see some concessions to the front, the bottom of the page here in the blue color. That will be for food and beverage and retail by the baggage claim area. Next slide, please. And again, this is the east ramp, mainly storage for concession space on the in the red area. And again, the blue is going to be for the airline space. Next slide, please. So just a quick recap. Square footage wise, on the food and beverage side, we have a little over 52,000 square feet, about 20 spaces. On the retail opportunities, we'll have 25,000 square feet with 21 spaces, and then around 20,000 square feet with club space, one being a common club, one being an airline club. Next slide, please. This is a very brief, quick recap of our timeline. We'll do an RFP process starting probably in January of 2023, conclude that hopefully by September of 2023, and make the awards for new concessions. Again, with the opening construction dates, somewhere starting beginning of mid-July or so, August of 2024, with openings in late 24, early 25 for phase 1, and then phase 1B, right about 2 years later for the same process. Next slide, please. We have some retail concession opportunities. Next slide, please. And again, this is Terminal 2. So Terminal 2 West and Terminal 2 East. When the new Terminal 1 opens up, obviously Terminal 1 will go away as we know it today, but Terminal 2 East and Terminal 2 West will continue operations. The current retail concessions that are in place today have been in place since 2013. Most of those leases expired in 2020 and are currently in holdover on month-to-month basis right now. Terminal 2 East currently has American and Alaska as airlines, and Terminal 2 West currently has Delta, United, and the international carriers as airlines. Next slide, please. On the retail side for Terminal 2, which again is Terminal 2 East and Terminal 2 West, there's about 13,500 square feet of concession space for the retail operators. There'll be 21 spaces available. Next slide, please. Again, kind of a quick recap. The RFP process will start later this year. Research this year. We'll start the RFP process probably March of 22, and then make an award in the August of 22. And start construction probably in August of 23 and wrap that up around July of 24. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Food and beverage, same situation. Most of the concessions were put in place in 2013. The food and beverage operators, most of their leases will expire in 2023 or 2024. And again, Terminal 2 is Terminal 2 East and Terminal 2 West, two separate buildings. Next slide, please. Food and beverage concessions in Terminal 2, again, Terminal 2 East and Terminal 2 West. almost 29,000 square feet and 25 spaces for food and beverage concessions. Next slide, please. Again, a very similar process, going through research, going through the RFP process. RFP process somewhere in early 22, concluding in the fall of 22. Construction beginning in around October of 23 and ending in July of 24. Next slide, please. And that's my presentation. So questions I'm more than happy to answer.
Okay, it looks like we have a couple of questions for you, Jim. Thank you for your excellent presentation and all those details. Very wonderful. We have an individual that wants to know, who can we contact for possible concessionaire opportunities that are available? Food and beverage mainly.
You can contact me, and my information's on the screen here, and I'm sure Christine can send that to you too, or if you want to email me at jdeclck@san.org, be more than happy to meet with you and talk about concession opportunities.
Yes, and to add to Jim's response to that question, if you're not aware already, we have added to our Meet the Primes program next week on the 29th. We have business matchmaking specifically for prime concessionaires, ACDBEs, and also business support services that can meet with all attendees. So definitely take advantage of that time to schedule a meeting with any of the participating concessionaires. All of them are currently contracted with us, and you will be able to speak with them, have any questions. It's about a 10-minute short meeting to exchange information and ask those questions and get that face-to-face virtual time that you would have otherwise at our Meet the Primes in person. I have another question. The question is, do you have a list of all retail concessions that have expired? As a disadvantaged business enterprise, DBE, small local prime contractor, we would like to market with new concessionaires.
Yes, we can provide you with a list of the current operators and that information. I do want to mention too, as Christine probably will mention to you guys too, your best way to be aware of our opportunities coming up is through Planet Bids. So be sure to go to Planet Bids and register there, and to make sure you select the proper categories. So when these RFPs do get posted, you're made aware of the opportunities.
Yes, good tip and suggestion. As a reminder, all opportunities, if it's a competitive process, is in our vendor bid portal. So make sure you register, keep your profile current. I know there's always some change of staff, and what we find is bounce backs for emails or contact information in your profile. So definitely keep that updated and pay attention to the emails that you may receive regarding opportunities. And yes, this presentation will be sent to attendees. Presentation recordings, we will share that with everyone, absolutely. Let's see if you have any other questions. Another question came in. The question is, who can we contact if we'd like to submit an unsolicited proposal to provide services on Terminal 1 or Terminal 2 construction?
That, Christine, probably would go through you guys initially, right? As far as construction, and then we could funnel that to our construction team.
Right. So all our proposals are going to be going through a solicitation process. So there's no behind the scenes on that. It goes through that process. And so it has to be advertised. But if you're looking for subcontracting opportunities, if you missed out on last week's contractors panel and business matchmaking with prime contractor panel members, we have their contact information that you can reach out to them if they need any services for our new Terminal 1 construction. And again, Arrive is the joint venture that was awarded the large terminal and roadways contract. So they will be the point of contact, and you can reach out to our team SPD@SANA.org if you have not received the contractors panel information. If you didn't attend last week, you can ask for that PDF and recording. We'll gladly provide that for you. Okay, another question has come in. Do you have a vendor in mind for credentialing, tracking, and verifying identities of workers?
Is that for workers within the concessions or workers on the construction project? Or I guess, please explain.
Yes. Jeffrey, would you please be able to clarify your question? And if you're not, then you can definitely reach out to us via email and we can provide you an answer to do additional research to give you an adequate answer. The email address for our Small Business Development Department is sbd@san.org. Okay, any other questions? All right, it looks like there are no other questions. Can we please proceed to the final slide? And have anybody that is here, panelist, support team member, turn on your cameras. Maria, can you please advance to slide 36? Scroll down. Okay, well, we want to thank everyone for your participation, being engaged throughout our sessions today and learning from the various departments. We want to also thank all department panelists, or actually department presenters, my apologies, on your time and sharing valuable information to the business community. We would not have been successful without you. We want to share with you the schedule on Thursday, the September 23rd from 5 to 7 p.m. PST. We're going to have 4 airport departments presenting. Airport Design and Construction will presenting on the new Terminal 1 in detail, our capital improvement program, and other future construction opportunities. And following them will be the Customer Experience and Innovation Department to talk about our innovation lab and their program and how we elevate the customer experience at our airport. Following them will be the Procurement Department going over the procurement process and different solicitation types and contract types. And finally, the Facilities Management Department will present about future opportunities with their department in services and maintenance for our campus. Thank you so much, everyone, and hope to see you on Thursday and at our future sessions. Have a great one.